Hello, thank you for tuning in. Today I'm going to talk about how to find the right offshore outsourcing partner for your company. So basically what I'm going to talk about is like 4 different types of offshore outsourcing, which is suitable for different kinds of companies and also different kinds of projects you're doing. So one would be the agile way of doing things. The second way would be fixed price projects. The third way would be by hiring dedicated developers. And the fourth way would be by having an offshore development center or an ODC. So most companies which do this offshore outsourcing, that means giving software projects to India or the Philippines or Pakistan or any other country, they will most likely go with a fixed price project. And the problem with fixed price project is usually that software development can usually not be done in a fixed price, because no one knows at the beginning of a project how much effort goes into the development of a software. Usually only during the process of developing the software, even the software company and even the client is finding out how much effort is needed. Of course, you might be thinking now, okay, I'm saying this because I'm also running an IT software outsourcing company, so obviously I don't want to have a fixed price. But the problem is, it is not like in building a car or building a house, because even in a house, we can know what is all there in a house. But in the software development, we don't know in which all modules or functionalities should be in the software. So the better way to go about it, and a solution which has been found, is the second way, and that's agile. So agile means there will be a team of developers, of project managers, and they will agree upon milestones, which are usually 1 month in time. They're called sprints, and in these sprints, specific modules or functionalities are developed, and usually it is not allowed to do other functionalities within this month. Only what was agreed upon at the start of the sprint will be developed, and only after that new functionalities will be added in other sprints. So this is called agile. Agile has the advantage, of course, that the requirement can be kept flexible, and you can develop as much as you want. Or if you see that too much is being developed, it is taking too much time, or it is costing too much, then you could also reduce the functionalities and reduce the time for development. A smaller disadvantage in agile is that usually it is more expensive. I mean, even teams in India charge around $40 to $50 per hour for such a kind of development, because most developers will be very experienced. There will be, of course, maybe also junior developers, but on average you could calculate between $40 to $70, which is even cheaper than in Europe or in USA, where you would pay $100 or $150 or $200 per hour. So that is the agile way. And the third way which you could go, which we as a company, as Software-Developer-India.com is offering, or Uhiro Technologies Private Limited, which is the company behind this brand, it's called the dedicated developer model. So basically here you would ask us to find a PHP developer, for example, with a few years experience, and we would go out into the market and look for such a kind of a developer. We will hire the developer, and the developer would be working dedicatedly only for you and your company. That is why it's called dedicated developer model. And usually when it comes to Software-Developer-India.com, we usually start with around 1 to 3 developers with one client, and from there they scale usually to 4 or 5 people, maybe even more. And we usually start with 1 developer, which is the best thing, because then or with 2, then you have a small team which can also help each other because they are in India and you will be maybe in Germany or in Europe or in USA or wherever. So they have a possibility to not always come to you to ask questions, but can work together as a team. And the advantage in that model is it's cheaper than the fixed price, and maybe fixed price I don't know, but the agile is cheaper than the agile model, and it's especially interesting for IT companies and web development companies who need additional resources or additional developers who will be working together with their teams in Europe or wherever in the world they are. And the fourth model, which I was also mentioning in the start of the video, is the offshore development center. So basically, the IT company in India would build a complete infrastructure with computer systems, office space, and they would also have maybe an HR who would then start hiring people exclusively only for one company. And those are usually bigger projects, maybe with 10 to 100 or 100 to 500 people. But these kinds of projects are usually done by very large organizations, like maybe a Bosch or Adidas, or like larger companies in Europe or in the USA who want to build larger teams in India. So that usually we are not doing. We're doing the dedicated developer model. So for these different models, there are different companies. For example, like I said, dedicated developer model, you can ask us. We will hire one developer in the beginning, and we can go from there. If you want to build an offshore development center, there are bigger companies in India like Wipro or Tata Consultancy, but they usually only have very large corporate clients from Europe or from the USA or from worldwide, which build offshore development centers with 100,000, maybe even 10,000 people. But there are also smaller companies which can build you a team of 100 people in India. There are such kind of companies. They're also smaller in size. Maybe they have 400, 500 employees, and they can build you smaller teams. And then you have the agile model. There you will find very small teams, like with 4 or 5 people, up to like thousands of people, companies, in offshore development companies who can help you with agile development. And there you should also look for an appropriate company for you, because if you're a startup, then you would most likely look at a very small agile team in India. And if you're a little bit larger, medium-sized company, then you can look for a little bit bigger teams in India. And the fixed price model I would not recommend to anyone, apart if you have very small projects. For example, you have a small WordPress website with a few pages, or you want to build a WooCommerce shop, or you have a small shopware shop or Magento shop, then maybe it's a good idea to have a fixed price. If you know you want to use a team and you have only a few plugins, then it's a good idea to have a fixed price. Otherwise, if it's even a bit bigger than a 1 month project, I would directly go either into Agile or, and Agile is the only option actually. Then you would need to be more flexible with the budget, but also you could say, okay, we check out how much time it will take to develop the software. And if we see, we make a list of like, let's say 20 requirements or 20 main functionalities. And if we see, and we start with the first 3 most important ones. And if we see that it takes too long to develop the 30 or the 20 functionalities, we develop only 3 or only 5, so that it's possible to build a software within your budget. It will have less functionalities, but still it has some good output. And later, when you get more customers for the software product, you can still add on to the functionalities. So that's the 4 models, like Agile, fixed price model, fixed price, dedicated developer model, and offshore development center. If you're a web development agency or an IT company from Europe or USA or Australia or from UK, then you can contact me, for example, via our website, Software-Developer-India.com, or via uhero-global.com, and we will then start building a one-man team in India, maybe with a few more people. And that's an ideal model, because IT companies usually have an ongoing requirement for a specific technology, maybe for PHP or for .NET or for other technologies, and we can hire experienced developers for that purpose. If you have more questions about offshore outsourcing and how to find the right partner, you can also write in the comments. I will try to answer. And if you have more questions, or maybe you can also share your experiences in the comments, would love to hear from you. Thank you so much.